interested in your courses, and they were community courses. The community courses during the evenings.
Yes, primarily during the evenings, or during the day. It depends. At the moment, I'm running them online, and I run school holiday programs because the demand is really high around school holiday programs. I run them
For students, for kids.
for kids, yeah,
Wow.
up to 18-year-old. So we're always booked out for the school holiday programs. We also I run them as professional development workshops, leadership programs. So yeah.
Professional development in what way?
So specific like people will in an organisation will approach me and say, we've got X amount of Samoan staff who really want to know about themselves, and in order to be better practitioners at whatever their field is, whether that's police. I've recently done some workshops on police and social workers, and a bit of work up in just a whole lot of different pieces. And often, and it's in that professional development when I'm getting a lot of interest from non-Samoans. So sometimes people that work who are not Samoans but have a lot of work contact with Samoan families and wanting to understand.
Especially in somewhere like Auckland, which is a high percentage of Samoans as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
I did some work recently with some people that were wanting to understand with seasonal workers who were non-Samoans and wanted to understand more about our people, as seasonal workers and what that meant and things.
So do you have to write a specific course for them, or it's about the same cultural things but in English so that they can understand?
No, I do. I develop a specific program for professional development. I call it whatunga titi. Whatu means to build up. Titi is the skirt or the girdle that you wear, and because they were made of flowers and whatnot and the others, and they'd often drop off, and so you would spend it's like pause, and then you would rebuild those skirts. So that's what the phrase means. It's about rebuilding that girdle, and so people are great at their jobs, but that pause and coming to our workshop helps people to rebuild and replenish so that they can understand more about our people, and that knowledge then helps them to be to provide better services for whatever it is that.
Okay.
But very,
Interesting.
as you know, I've done quite a few workshops here in Samoa as well, and that's that mainly been people that are expats here, or people that are in business.
That's right.
And
I remember that. That was a few years ago now. That was
the last one, yeah. So
it's fun.
Yeah.
So, so when you, I want to go back to, just want to ask back about the demand. So people of the professional development was interesting, but people of the community coming and saying we want, what are they actually asking for?
Well, so what happens is I'm at a community centre where where they provide us with a venue, and they often ring me and say, can you come in, we've had this demand, people are coming in and asking for Samoan language, can you please help, can you please come in and run a program? I say, yep, let's do that, and I try and work it so that it's free and so it's accessible, which means that I've got to get someone who pays for the venue, someone that will pay for my time, someone that will pay for all the bits and pieces that go with running a workshop, and make that accessible for people.
But the course based on language is also based on culture.
You can't learn the language without learning the culture. Well, both things go together. So the program that I run is about teaching you the language, but essentially it's about primarily building your understanding of the culture first, because you can rote learn things, but if you don't know the context of where and when to use those, which is in the culture, then
I think that's probably one of the things I remember, because I've sat in a couple of your courses, particularly in Auckland and of course here. But it's the hands-on, the practice, is the explaining. It's that whole the way that we learn, and then the actual going and doing it. That sometimes is quite scary, isn't it? And I'm interested in some of your students and what they say, and any feedback about the actual. Did they know when they came in that they would have to stand up and?
Not really. like when we're away from Auckland,
Like in Melbourne or somewhere?
yeah,
or,
yeah. I mean, I've got a family and my own job to do, my own job that pays me. So I can only be away for a certain amount of time. So I like to run those offshore or off, outside of, in a 1 week period. Go bang, 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 bang. So that, for 7 nights, we're meeting up somewhere, a community centre, and 3.5 hours every night.
Wow.
And so the intensity of it's really good. And as an educator myself, I know that our people respond better to pressure in that way because you know what it's like.
Yeah.
You give them an assignment
And they don't do it.
They don't do it. But they'll do it right at the last minute. Yay. So the pressure for people, and we tell them, hey, this is when we're on. When we're going to be inviting your families. Within 6 days, and
Invite the families is a big thing at the end, isn't it?
families, communities, so that really puts pressure on people.
I had a cousin in Auckland who was supposed to do it so many times, never did it, and then finally she did it, and then just texted me and went, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I said, I told you. Yeah.
I always say, people, what you put into those things is what you get out of it.
But isn't that true for anything, though? Is it or not?
Absolutely, yeah. If you don't put the work in, you're not going to get anything out of it. And so it's just, it really, and once they finish that, they can introduce themselves, they can talk about their villages in Samoan, they can do a specific piece that they've been asked to do, whether it's a sulatonga, which is the girls, the women praising the fine mats, or the boys, And once they're able to do that in front of an audience of their families
So
and
scary.
cohorts, once they can conquer that, I mean, I really want our people to, savour that success, because I think that's an important thing to think about us as migrants, is understanding what success feels like, whether it's success in your workplace, your school, and that, and even that in a community. So, I get people that, they bomb out because, and they come in and say this, and that, and I say,
You're
look,
not ready, yeah?
well, I say, yeah, I do, but I say, look, I don't want you to live with this, because you're gonna kick yourself. When we move on, you're going to say,
You don't regret that you finished it. You do regret that you didn't finish it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Wow.
And it's that thing, or manu malo, because that's the primary reason why we left Samoa, is saili malo, to achieve, look for better opportunities. And if we didn't step out of that, of these beautiful whanua we have here, we would never be able to achieve what we do now. And so it's the same, I know you can't speak Samoan, I know that I know you've never spoken Samoan your whole life, but I want you to give this a go. And once you've done it, that feeling is awesome. But more importantly, it's the relationships that they build along the way. So right through the content, where it's sort of saying, from the first night, I'm saying, you need to go home and ask your parents this. You need to go home and ask them about this. You need to go and practice with this, and so that their families and their parents are engaged.
And you've had some really good responses on those things.
Just so really powerful. Quite often I hear people, they've gone to their parents and said, I need, what does this mean? And I want to know what our village is, and I want to know what our whakapinga is. And their parents have just about gone, and they've gone outside, and they've gone and, and
Get the big suitcase of all
and they're all
papers.
and so I mean, they're so supportive, and it's hard for our parents outside of Samoa, or even here in Samoa, to be involved in education and formal education, because obviously we see our parents, the attitude is that the school is over there, formal schooling is over there, our parents are here and the child is here, and you, the child, you just go there and do that, you listen to it. But in what we do, we see the parents and the relationship between the parents and the participants, or families and participants, just grow and things. And that is the absolute pinnacle, and you can't put you can't fathom a measure on that. You can't underestimate the value of that. I've had parents come up to me after it, the actual parents, and they're quite old, and they come up to me and they say, I'm ready to die. I'm ready to go now. I am ready to go. And so we talk, and what they're saying is, we came here to you know, to find new opportunities. But in that process, we forgot to turn around and say to our children, you know, learn the culture, because that's not what they went there for.
No.
They went there to work and to find better opportunities.
That's right.
And then there's a deep sadness because the relationship just split, you know, not splits, but, you know, you'll have
Well, it's
parents
different, isn't it? Because you're
speaking
actually not in
Samoan.
Samoa anymore, you're in
That's right.
another country.
Yeah.
So
And the loss of language, loss of culture leads to the loss in relationships, loss in communication. And so when families see them on this journey and are going with them on this journey, they say, I'm ready to go now. I'm ready to go.
oh my goodness.
Yeah. Oh, it's quite emotional. It's quite emotional and quite, yeah. And so it's
It
quite.
must have happened a lot though, because you've had 10 years of these trainings, these classes.
Yeah. It's quite special. We had a case of people, you know, have parents hoard all that material, written material, and once their child or their son and daughter comes along, they just produce all this masses of information they have been waiting to offload, and but they feel like during the class that their child or their has now got a platform to launch that knowledge. Yeah.
I would also imagine that some of those the people in your class, they've got kids and grandkids maybe,
Oh, yeah.
and so it's that whole level of they have parents that they need to go to and ask for what's happening here, you know, through learnings in your class, and then they have their own kids and grandkids that they want to bring along with them.
Well, that's the compelling reason that people say when we start. What's your why? And it's often I have children now. I ran away from it when I was younger, when my parents were trying to get me, and now our children, I see what the importance of it. So I'm here for my children.
Oh my gosh, that's so true, isn't
and
it?
that is such and so and I just think it's awesome because that's what their parents were trying to tell them, but they ran
Not
away
listening,
from it,
yeah.
not listening, and now that as parents themselves, they see the value of what they were trying to do. Yeah.
But also, times change and things move on, but it's that discovery thing. So it's so powerful. Good on you for doing that.
Oh, it's hard work but it's very rewarding, And I think I just think, because I keep saying to myself, well, when I die, you don't take nothing with you, But if you can leave an impact on someone, or and have if you've made a difference to someone's life or something. And so one of the things I always do, always, when we're flying into a place to run a workshop, I'm there praying, and on the plane, to use us as vessels to impact someone's life for good. Yeah.
Have you heard of anyone that was doing classes like this?
Oh, there were lots of people, lots and lots of people, and especially in Auckland, because we've got a lot of good educators in Auckland, and some of them are, they've been there for years and just recently.
And because there's a need, you can see a need.
They can see a need.
What about states though? And
I think now we've been working with a few community organisations there and helping them to build their resources so that they can. One of our first classes in San Francisco, I think, they went off and they took our material and we helped them to adjust it to their thing, to their environment there, and then they went off and started working with high school students there. And
that's great.
I think it's great because it's this is one of those programs you can't keep to yourself. The more that you share it, the better, because like I say, it's once you go, you go. And I think that's the thing with a lot of our Samoan speaking people, our matais and our elders, is really sharing that, because what's the good of it sitting in our closets or in our, we need to be able to share. But, this is what happens, is that the communication, the language barrier, the generational thing, the generational gap is a real barrier in being able to access that information. And so some of the resources that we do are often, all our resources are in Samoan, and the Samoan, and then the translations with it so that people actually understand and explain to them why do we do this and how is it done, where did it come, where does this practice come from, and why
Yeah,
are we doing it.
I love that. I love that area. That it's not only what it meant. I mean, it's not only the translation part, but what you've already got at, and you've already said today was that where does it come from? Where does it come from? And why is it like that? And it may change over. You know, Samoan culture is a living culture. It's been changing all the time because we live it here in Samoa, and you live it, and people live it all over the world. But if you understand the reasons why it was like that in the first place, and that's part, I can really see that as part of a key element of your courses that you do. And is that giving the grounding?
Yeah, so part of the resource building behind this is me thinking about the big ticket items, you know, the big ticket, the meta theory, the meta theories behind this. Our ancestors were so smart. They left different, the way they structured our culture, the way they structured our lives, even right down to the houses that we lived in. The architect of our houses has so spoke, even now, tells us how to live our lives. You know, that's why you and I were driving around in the villages trying to take those videos and so that we could show people, you know, this is the palitele at the front, you know, and what that means. This is the architect of it, and you know, there's a specific design about our stuff. So the design of
What can I just ask? Do you think the design is changing?
absolutely, the design here in Samoa is changing, but the villages are the ones that provide the authenticity.
Yeah.
The design is changing
To suit
to suit
them.
urbanisation.
To suit where we are now.
Yeah.
Which is what I said, just about being a living culture anyway. But it's about the why in the first place.
Well, you know, we have a saying in Samoa, e sui whainga e tō mauwha away. We change, we evolve the implementation and the delivery of something, but the values stay the same. And if the values aren't in that new modern practice, then it isn't Samoa.
And we get into trouble then. That's when people start arguing a bit.
Oh, yeah, it's just, of course. But I think that the design is always, you know, there's some key things in the structure of everything that you do that are underpinning that. If it's not tautua, if it's not based on tautua, you know, tautua is about service. If it's not about, whatever you're doing, if it's not about sacrificing something of yourself, whether it be financial, time, resources, to build your family, then it's not for someone.
No. Wow.
If you're doing and then, you know, if it's not based on alofa, you're
doing it for yourself.
you're doing it for yourself.
Okay.
Because alofa is ultimately about sacrifice, the giving of yourself, just for someone else.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think, you know, that's why Christianity took off so well here. When they came, and those values were everywhere. Those are things that we practice. Those are core values of our culture. And so it wasn't hard for people to pick up the Christian, you know, the idea of Jesus Christ and his ultimate sacrifice for us, because we understand the idea of taulanga, whai taulanga, ola whai taulanga, tautua.
Let's have a break, and I'll push. Oh, we can just edit this anyway. I want to get another drink, eh?
Yes, me too.
And we'll just check it. But that was good. Oh, have I just turned it on?
Let's have a drink.
Oh, this has got 19 on it, so maybe we'll